everyone to the Daily Stand Up. I'm Dominique Holliday, CEO of Holiday Systems Inc., business consultant, and I'm here with Pia. Pia is an agile consultant, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself and let's get this conversation started.
Hi, Dominique. So yes, as you mentioned, I'm an agile consultant and coach, currently working at JP Morgan, helping with the transformation. I also design websites. So if you need a website, I can also provide those services as well. And thank you for having me today, Dominique.
I'm glad that you could be here, take some time out so we could have this conversation because I was following your page on Instagram and I was going to your website. You're a very interesting individual. So, what exactly do you do as far as a business owner? If you could break that down a little bit.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned briefly, it's kind of like okay, so there's two things that I do. I currently work full time, right? As an agility lead at JP Morgan Chase. So as an agility lead, which is basically like a hybrid of a scrum master and an agile coach, right? But also in addition to that, I design websites. For small businesses, it doesn't matter, nothing in particular, right? It can be agile related or it can be whatever it is, beauty, anything like that. But for small businesses, I do design websites as well. Um, yeah, so that's currently in a nutshell the services that
And
I provide.
so where did your journey start?
It's an interesting journey. Well, okay, so not to make this too long-winded, but I originally started off in hardware, which to me was not the move. No offense to those who love hardware, but it wasn't for me. However, it did introduce me to tech, so I appreciate it for that reason. But during the time, I didn't have a degree, but I did want to earn a more, a larger income. And a friend of mine introduced me to the idea of going into more of the software field. Unfortunately, at that time, when I decided to go back to school, I had already pretty much completed my degree. I was at the very end, and I had chose to major in business. As some of you may already know, business is not really a specialized major. So it wasn't something that was going to actually help me get into software. But because of this person, it did introduce me to platforms like Coursera, where I was exposed to other options like Scrum. So, but because I majored in business, I decided that it would be a good idea for me to continue my education. So immediately after, I enrolled into an MBA program at LSU, specialized in project management. But in the interim, there was like a 3-month period, and I took the Scrum Master certification, which I loved, fell in love with it. And once I completed the certification, I still didn't have the skills needed to get into software. Um, so I proceeded with the MBA. That's where I earned my project management certification in Six Sigma. And then during that time, I was trying to figure out the best way to get in, right? So I'm looking up like data science, data analytics, and I'm looking up software engineering. After some research, software engineering seemed to be the best route. So I found an affordable program, and I enrolled into a boot camp, and which I attended on the weekend simultaneously while in grad school. So that's where I learned to code, and that's what kind of helped me get into to the software industry. So yeah, that's pretty much what led me there.
So you're a coding scrum master.
Not anymore. You don't want me to code anything now, but yeah, that's definitely what started. That's what it definitely was a boost for my resume, for sure. So having that on there definitely helped.
Yeah, and I could say a lot of scrum masters have a lot of soft skills, but not a lot of technical skills. I started
Mhm.
as a scrum master myself before I started my company, and I still do some scrum master work with other organizations right now.
Mhm.
But you having that technical background that puts you above a lot of people, and even with you having a degree, that puts you ahead of a lot of people. And I'm assuming like JP Morgan, that's why they were like, oh yeah, we got to go ahead and get her because we can knock a lot of things out without even paying multiple people to do different things. And you can stop me if I'm wrong, but when it becomes to agile and scrum, you have to be able to adapt and be able
Mhm.
to help as much as possible, because at the end of the day, me being able to consult different businesses, they're looking at what they're implementing and how much money that's going to bring in. Because, like I
Mhm.
tell everyone, the rule of the game is to beat the last quarter. And if you're not beating that last quarter, they want to identify quickly why they
Mhm.
didn't beat that last quarter. And that's what the value is into breaking year goals down into quarter goals, and even breaking those quarter goals down into things that you could achieve in a certain time
Mhm.
frame. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
that story.
No, I agree, and you're right. The so soft skills is certainly one of the, I'm going to say, the major skill, right, out of all skills that you need to be a successful Scrum Master. And I've heard that technical knowledge definitely helps, but honestly, even if you don't have a technical background, there's certain terminology that you can learn on your own, right? You don't necessarily have to know the depths of the coding, you know what I mean? But if you're familiar with certain terminology, it does help you kind of build that rapport and that bond with the team and understand certain things that they're saying. So it does provide you with leverage there, but by no means does it prevent you from being successful. It's really the soft skills that you need to build those relationships that you need within the team, with upper management, and with business. So if anything, that would be the main focus. Also, I wanted to comment on what you mentioned about JP Morgan recognizing some of the talent that I brought to bring to the table. um, Honestly, I can say I'm pretty sure the certifications have helped. So my recommendation to anybody, if you're looking to kind of wean out some of the competition, by all means, go ahead and get the certifications. I don't mean you don't necessarily have to go overboard with certifications, but you certainly want to get ones that are going to be heavily complementary to the journey. Um, I have, like I said, CAP M, not PMP, but CAP M. Based on my knowledge at the time and my experience, that was all that I was really able to obtain, but it was suitable, right? And I was able to get Six Sigma, wasn't hard. Um, Also, the Scrum Master certification, obviously, that was from Scrum Alliance, Product Owner certification, Scrum Alliance, and then also SAFE. So, you want to definitely make sure you're strategic about the certification that you get. You don't have to go crazy with it, but it certainly helps. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know we were having a conversation about prioritizing things and making sure that your plan makes sense, right? So
Mhm.
the people that you serve or the people that you help, who are those people, and how should they prioritize, even getting in contact with you or taking steps forward to whatever they're trying to accomplish? You could just give a short summary of how that would go.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So yeah, as you know, being a Scrum Master and working in that project management arena, you learn a lot of different tools and techniques, right? And I always try to tell people, like, yeah, so you're running a project at work, but your life is also a project, right? So you want to make sure that you take a lot of those lessons that you've learned or and apply them to your life, because your life is probably the biggest project that you're ever going to actually run. And just keeping in mind, like, just like a project, you're the only resource. So some of the things that I like to explain to people, offer to people, as some of the techniques that I apply at work, right? So being able to prioritize based on value, right? Also keeping in mind of all the risks that are associated with it, understanding that you are the only resource, so you don't want to overextend, right? Your time, and take those things into consideration. You want to plan accordingly, right? And I know a lot of times when we think about a goal that we want to accomplish, it's like it can be overwhelming, right? And discouraging when you look at the entire picture. But you don't want to overwhelm yourself. You want to just start off with the very next step, right? It's okay to be familiar or to be aware of what's down the line, but it's okay not to know everything. You'll learn as you go, and it's okay, not to really necessarily plan that far out in advance, but you certainly just want to make sure you work in a prioritized order. And that's one of the services that I offer, and that's one of the things I like to speak about on my Instagram page, is using those tools and applying it to your personal life. So on my Instagram, you'll definitely find information there, and on my website as well.
Yeah, and that's great value that you provide on your Instagram page, because I know when I'm consulting businesses, a lot of people do not know where they started or even the issues that they ran into when it comes to goal setting and measuring things off of those goals. Even like, so
Mhm,
I start out with revenue and budget. So you have to know what your revenue goal is. So
mhm,
I asked companies, what did you bring in last year? And then I asked them, how much did you spend last year? What's your profit margins? And also,
mhm.
what do you need in your business going forward? And now
That's right.
let's break those things down. And if
Mm-hmm.
they can't tell me that, then we have to start from scratch, because we have to
Mm-hmm.
identify different things that we have to resolve earlier, quicker. We call them
Yep.
impediments or dependencies or anything that
Mm-hmm.
we run into that we have to quickly resolve. And that's why I like working in increments of 2 week cycles,
Mm-hmm.
because with doing that, if you don't move something across that finish line, or that you committed to, you can identify like the problem with why I did not accomplish what I set out to do after I committed to it. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people in organizations and agile teams, scrum teams, they look at, oh, if I don't move this across, then it's a failure. No, the failure is if you don't identify why. Why did I not move this commitment that I said I will produce value in across
Mm-hmm.
that 2 week increment? And
Yeah.
once you get that in your mind, you'll start to commit to things only that you can complete. And then once you start completing and completing and completing, now you can commit to even more work. And now
Mm-hmm.
you'll see things moving more efficiently, more effectively, and you will see your business moving, because if all teams and all departments are moving like this, then you all align under that one umbrella, and it's going to produce more money, more
I
revenue,
agree.
and you're going to be
Yeah,
below that budget.
for sure. Yeah, I agree. It's certainly about strategy. So I think that's a great idea and a great approach. Like if you don't have anything to measure against, so if you're asking a company all these questions and they don't have anything to measure against, then it's like, how do we know when we can park this? So I totally get that. Even like when you're mentioning the 2 week increments, right? And the advantages of that, it gives you the opportunity to pivot, right? And make changes accordingly. And you're not stuck in this like flow and this momentum. So that's one of the things, one of the benefits about Agile too. So I totally agree with that as well.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I know we're almost at time. So before we wrap it up, I want you to tell me, what is your goal for this year? I know it's like a throwing a ball at you and you're not expecting it. So I like to do this just to see where your mind is, what your goal is, and let's come back next year or in a few months to see like how far you are with accomplishing that goal.
Yeah. So my goal this year is 100% to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity that I've been presented with at JP Morgan Chase. As I briefly mentioned to you earlier, not on this call, but I briefly mentioned to you earlier, I wasn't expecting the opportunity that I was presented with, right? So being able to be a part of this journey, I'm super grateful for it. So I don't know if it froze. Yeah, so it's a great opportunity. So currently, what I'm doing now is being able working, leveraging everything that I've learned so far, and to help myself in my personal life, and to help build my own personal brand, right? In the workplace and outside of the workplace, and being able to leverage all of those skills and providing assistance to others who are looking to either get into Scrum, learn more about Agile, project management, process improvement, or being able to apply some of these tools and techniques to their personal life and seeing the value in it. I think there's a lag.
Yeah, it's a lag. So let me make sure this lag is gone.
I think it's gone.
All right. Yeah. So so yeah. So we'll check back in. We'll see how things are with you. Hopefully this will be I'll be a part of your network now. If you need anything, be sure to
Right.
hit me up, let me know
Absolutely.
what you need. And where can people find you at your social
Yeah.
media tags?
So social media, Instagram, I am .piarolic. That's Piarollock. And also my website is piarolic.com. So you can find me at both places. Feel free to DM me for a free consultation. You can also access my website and also schedule a free consultation there as well.
All
And I want to
right.
say thank you so much, Dominic. I really appreciate you reaching out to me. I think it was a sign from God. No, I get a little excited, but I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking time out. I know it's a Sunday. I know people have busy schedules, but like I said, I saw your Instagram and I was interested in what you do. I like the information that you're providing is very valuable information, and a lot of people need to really pay attention to strategically planning their life and their business. So.
That's right.
So I appreciate
Mhm.
you taking time out.
That's a
So
fact. Thank you.
everyone,
Sure.
that's the daily stand up. We're right at 15 minutes. I like to stay in the time box. So until next time, it's Holiday Systems Inc., the daily stand up. Thank you.
A
Bye.
lot of people hire someone in their family or a really close friend that they know is not suitable for that job. Even cleaning, I don't know why everybody in the world thinks that janitorial is easy when it's not. A lot of people have never really been taught how to truly clean, even military people, because it's not just, civilians, but, everyone in my family pretty much has scrubbed the toilet or has done something in my company, Foresight, even to include my kids. So, some were better than others, but I knew that I was hiring janitors that were not janitors. And so I had to know what came with that. And the same thing with the other opportunities that I provided other people. They weren't fit for the job. They had no experience, but I hired them because, they were friends. And so it could work out very well if you hire family, especially some people partner with their family members and it works out just fine. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying, read the room essentially. Does this person do well with any other type of business or their obligations? You have to look at them the same way you would look at anyone else.
So